Moving next to SMU and Penn State. Penn State dominating SMU and forcing them into some significant mistakes, which led to them opening up in a big way against the Mustangs. All right, let's start with Penn State. Few things that were super impressive about this performance. One, their pass rush. Two, the amount of relentless pressure it felt like their defense was consistently getting. And three, being in the right place at the right time. I had a couple people I was watching the game with. They're like, well, he just threw it right to him. I was like, yeah, because he's where he needs to be in the defensive structure. And DeLuca's going to be right there. I mean, yeah, it was a terrible throw. Yeah, it was a terrible decision. More on that in a minute. But Dominic DeLuca is at the depth he needed to be at, and he also needed to be in a really good spot. I mean, he's got great eyes. His vision is exactly where it needs to be. He secures it, and guess what? You got to go make guys miss. You catch the ball, 23 yards, out the gate. So I thought he had a tremendous game. I thought the defense in general had an outstanding game. Tony Rojas, obviously, which was funny. I believe there was something about how Rojas was like a running back at some point in his career. He looked pretty good. Now, I've watched Penn State quite a bit this year. There was never a time in which I thought to myself, yep, Tony Rojas, that's the guy. Like, he's the guy that's going to elevate this defense. Never felt that way. But that was pretty impressive, though, to see the run back that he had on his interception. So want to give some credit to him as well. But I also really just, everything about this Penn State performance felt very solid, right? They were opportunistic. They forced mistakes. They were fortuitous, but that's not on them. And then they also committed to the run game in a big way. It feels like at times when I watch Penn State, they try to get a little cute and creative from time to time. There's times when I watch them, I think, man, I wish they would just give Katron Allen and Singleton 25 carries each. Obviously, that's unrealistic. But in this game in particular, you had 14 carries there for Singleton. You had 10 carries for Katron Allen. And that doesn't even include some of the wide throws, the swing throws that they got them out in space against lesser defenders. I thought that was very, very impressive. I thought the secondary in general played very well against a really solid pass. And this is a really good passing attack for SMU, a really good group. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of depth and versatility. And Kevin Jennings forces you as a defense to be really sound, to be smart, because if you, for whatever reason, get out of position, if you vacate your coverage responsibilities, they kill you, because he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. And when he runs around and creates, you vacate your coverage responsibilities because you want to go make a play, you want to go make a sack, and you don't want him running for 25 yards. So a lot of teams have done that since he's been in the game. And guess what? Penn State did that from time to time when Dylan Gabriel broke contain. Against the Big Ten champion Oregon Ducks, there were times where I felt like Penn State didn't play with great eyes and they didn't play with great discipline defensively. That all flipped in this game. They could not have been more disciplined. They could not have been better as it relates to making sure their coverage responsibilities came first and then rallying up to the football came second. It was really impressive. I think that requires a lot of due diligence by the staff to get those guys to really buy into what they need to do and stick to the game plan. I also want to give some credit to Andy Kotelnicki. The commitment to the run game was really, really impressive, I felt like, as the game went along. And I also think the balance of trying to create some edge throws, create some quick throws, some things to get Drew Allen comfortable. I think all of that was very impressive as well. So I was really, really impressed with what I saw from Penn State. I thought it was a dominant performance, and like I said, a very opportunistic performance. I think Penn State should feel great about what they put on display yesterday, but really not that dissimilar to the conversation that is centered around Notre Dame, Indiana. The conversation around this game is centered around, well, why was SMU there? More on that in a little bit, all right? More on that in a little bit, but no denying SMU completely wet the bed just like Indiana. They did. You look at the mistakes that were made. Kevin Jennings, he's been outstanding all season long. He was terrible in this game. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was the wind. I don't know if it was the atmosphere, the environment, the stage, what have you. But the mistakes that he made throughout the game, their team was just never going to have a chance. The missed throw on 4th and 1 early with a guy open, Hibner, the tight end, open. You make that completion. It's an easy throw. The guy's wide open. He misses it inside. I'm not sure what happened there. It's incomplete. They get off the field. They even had a great moment because there was a moment where Penn State, and I thought James Franklin made a critical error. They went for it, 4th and 1 inside their own 20-yard line. They get stopped on the QB sneak. Then the very next play, Kevin Jennings throws it to the left, tip, interception, massive to save the day and to preserve the lead at that point. So even when Penn State would make a mistake, SMU would say, hold my beer, we'll make a bigger mistake now. So it was just a cacophony of errors for the SMU Mustangs, and it looked very uncharacteristic of this team throughout the regular season. I mean, they did not make a ton of mistakes. This was a team that had often handled environments, and they really didn't play well in the first 3 quarters against Clemson in the ACC championship game. Well, that carried over into the game against Penn State. It was a bad performance. I'm not sure what else needs to be said. This team has had some turnover woes. It showed itself against Cal earlier this year. They were actually 1-0 this season when Kevin Jennings threw 3+ interceptions. They're now 1-1, obviously, when that happens. So they just too many mistakes to ever have a real chance to knock off a quality team like Penn State. So Penn State's in a great position. They'll now go play Boise State, and they will be a comfortable favorite in that game. We'll talk about the lines here in just a little bit. But congrats to Penn State, an outstanding win, and now a heavy favorite in the quarterfinal games. Have you maybe looking forward just a little bit, but do not look forward just yet, but feel great about what you did on Saturday at home.